Good morning, America. This morning, the bargain battles. Shoppers storming the stores, pouncing on deals.
There's a lot of 50% off.
Customers frustrated when systems go down at Macy's, while Walmart takes heat for running out of popular products online. Where the deals are this morning.
Mosque massacre, retaliation overnight with airstrikes hunting down the militants who set off explosives in Egypt during Friday prayers. They blocked exits and gunned down men, women, and children who's suspected of carrying out this horrifying assault.
Time out. President Trump claiming that he turned down a potential offer to be Time Magazine's Person of the Year. The magazine telling a very different story this morning in this cover controversy.
And shocking upset, Miami loses to Pittsburgh. The unranked Panthers winning at home against the #2 team in the country. With a perfect 10-0 record, the stakes now raised for Miami's next win.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Hey, good morning and happy Small Business Saturday, another landmark day in the kickoff to America's annual holiday shopping fever.
As if you had needed one more reason to shop, today it is. Small local businesses, they will get their day in the sun today. But we are tallying up the numbers from yesterday, from Black Friday, where shoppers descended upon big box stores. They were scooping up the best deals, but also dealing with some pretty tough crowds and technical glitches.
We've got it all covered for you this morning, including a look at the deepest discounts still out there, both online and in the stores.
But we're going to start with ABC's Ariel Reshef, who is in New York with a look at some of the Black Friday mayhem. Ariel, good morning to you.
Good morning, Paula and Dan. It's always a mad dash for deals, but a bit of a black eye on one of the busiest shopping days of the year. Black Friday in some places turning to chaos.
The Black Friday rush, busy and frantic as ever.
I've been burning off calories for the last 3 hours.
There's a lot of 50% off. We're not done.
Hordes of eager shoppers storming stores.
Save 300. That's a pretty good deal.
In some cases, the crowd's turning violent. In Houston, one person shot, one stabbed outside the Willowbrook Mall. The Galleria in a St. Louis suburb forced to close after protesters clashed with police. 7 people arrested. And a host of mishaps for retailers. Customers claiming they waited hours in line at Macy's as credit card payment systems went down. One incensed shopper tweeting, "Hey Macy's, just left $300 of items on counter because your credit card machines are down at State Street, Chicago. Can't even look up Macy's account. What a joke." Macy's says that glitch now resolved as consumers clamored for the latest gadgets.
We got the TVs.
Smart TVs and voice technology devices, the biggest sellers. Walmart taking heat for quickly selling out of popular products online.
And a lot of people opting not to come out to the stores to shop. $3 billion spent online on Thanksgiving alone, and guys, Cyber Monday expected to be even bigger.
All right, Ariel, thank you. Just outside Macy's here in New York City. Okay, so how big has the shopping season been so far, and what are some of the big deals that are still coming up?
Let's survey the landscape with our resident holiday shopping maestro, ABC's Becky Worley, who's in San Francisco. Becky, good morning. Let's start with the Black Friday stats. What do we know?
Dan, the numbers are up, way up, as Ariel just mentioned, and according to Adobe, over $3 billion spent online as of 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Friday. That's a 15% growth from 2016's Black Friday online. Amazon also reporting growth, sales 50% higher on Thanksgiving 2017 compared to 2016. That is a monster bump.
It is a big bump. Okay, so Becky, what about the hot products? Are there any that really caught your eye?
I looked up the top seller reports, Paula, from eBay, Amazon, a few independent sites that track these sales online. Streaming TV devices big, Amazon Fire Stick, Google Chromecast. Last year's gaming consoles, specifically the Xbox, has been discounted to about $189, and that was a big hit. And as Ariel mentioned, we expected home voice assistants like the Echo from Amazon and Google to be popular, but I was really surprised to see them selling out on some of the biggest websites online.
So we've got, you just talked about websites, we've got Cyber Monday coming up soon. Does that mean now is not a good time to shop online because retailers may be holding back their best deals for Monday?
Well, the doorbuster prices of Thanksgiving and in some cases Black Friday are definitely done. But the last chance for deals on Cyber Monday, that motivates the procrastinators. And if you think the volume of shopping is slowing down, hold on to your credit card, guys. Amazon has deals live over the whole weekend. And get this, last year on Cyber Monday, Amazon customers ordered more than 64 million items, a record-breaking 740 items per second.
Wow.
Insane.
We even broke it down to the second.
Becky leaves no stone unturned. And speaking of Becky, we're going to get back to you in our next half hour to look at some specific deals that are still out there. We do have to turn now, though, to our other top story this morning, the Egyptian military striking back overnight against the people they believe were behind a truly horrifying terror attack, one of the worst in that country's history.
Yeah, it's awful. The death toll is now upwards of 300 people, including many children, after an attack on a mosque where worshipers were in the midst of Friday prayers. ABC's Jennifer Eccleston is covering the story for us from London this morning. Hi, Jennifer.
Good morning, Dan and Paula. That's right. The death toll from Friday's massive coordinated terror attack rising. Potential suspects now located, and Egypt's president making good on a promise to respond with brute force.
This morning, retaliation from Egypt's Air Force. Airstrikes on militants the government blames for the massacre at a mosque, the deadliest attack in Egypt in modern history. On Friday afternoon, at least 300 people were killed, more than 100 injured, when dozens of Islamic militants carrying ISIS flags ambushed a mosque 125 miles northeast of Cairo. Witnesses reporting explosions from inside the holy site as worshippers attempted to flee. Outside, masked gunmen opening fire, shooting into the mosque and setting fire to cars, cutting off escape routes. Even ambulances rushing to the scene facing gunfire. Most of the aftermath too gruesome to show. Rows of victims, including 27 children. No group has claimed responsibility, but Islamic State is suspected. Those worshipping may have followed a mystical form of Islam called Sufism, which ISIS says is heresy. Overnight, a show of solidarity for Egypt, the colors of the Egyptian flag illuminating landmarks and government buildings in Israel, Toronto, and Birmingham, England.
Egypt is observing 3 days of mourning, and Christian churches across Cairo are ringing their bells in memory of the victims, especially the more than 24 children. Dan and Paula?
Yeah, it's hard to hear about all those kids. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for your reporting. We want to turn now to politics, and President Trump condemning the, quote, horrible and cowardly terror attack in Egypt. The president spending his holiday weekend in West Palm Beach, which is where we find our Lana Zak. Lana, good morning to you. And I want to ask you, Trump called the president of Egypt, Abdel el-Sisi, after the massacre. Can you tell us what was discussed?
Good morning, Paula and Dan. Great to be with you as well. You know, the president offered his condolences following that horrific attack, and he promised that the United States would stand together with Egypt in the face of terrorism.
Meanwhile, the president now appears to be in a Twitter war with Time magazine. What's going on there, Lana?
The president said that he was basically offered Time's Person of the Year, saying that he would have to consent to a photo shoot and an interview. That he was, though, probably going to get it. But the president tweeted out, "I said probably is no good and took a pass. Thanks anyway." Time magazine is firing back that that's not how it happens. They wrote, "The president is incorrect about how we choose Person of the Year. Time magazine does not comment on our selection until publication, which isn't until December 6th. And you'll remember, Dan and Paula, that just a little bit ago, the president sort of got called out for having a fake Time magazine cover hanging up on display in many of his clubs, including right here at Mar-a-Lago. But after that was pointed out to be a fake, it's disappeared, and I can tell you there's no sign of it here anymore.
I can only imagine. One last question before we let you go, Lana. Does the president seem distracted by the reporting that his former national security advisor, Mike Flynn, might be cooperating with prosecutors from the Russian investigation?
Well, the White House insists that they are not concerned about the change in Flynn's legal strategy, separating himself from the president. And almost as if to underscore that, the president hit the links yesterday with pro golfer Dustin Johnson and Tiger Woods. So seeming to indicate that they feel like they are still in the right and not at all concerned about the Mueller special counsel investigation. Dan, Paula.
Lana Zach reporting in from Florida this morning. Lana, thank you. Let's bring in ABC News political analyst Kristen Soltis Anderson, who's in Washington. Kristen, let's talk about this news about Michael Flynn. It came out a day or so ago that he is no longer, his legal team is no longer in communication with the Trump legal team over the Russia investigation. A lot of people are reading this as a sign that he may be cooperating with Bob Mueller. How worried should the president be about this, in your view?
Well, whether you're the president or you're Mike Flynn, I think the worry for both of these men is about their sons or son-in-laws. You have, on the one hand, you have Jared Kushner, you have Donald Trump Jr., who was involved in that meeting between folks affiliated with the Russian government and the Trump campaign that happened last summer. But Mike Flynn's own son is also sort of implicated in being caught up in some of this because of his ties to Russia, his involvement with the campaign. So in both cases, it may be that Mike Flynn is trying to work more with Bob Mueller, work more with the investigation as a way to protect his own son. The downside of this for Trump could be, is this leading to information that could implicate someone like Kushner or Donald Trump Jr. in a bigger piece of this investigation?
As is the case with the Russia investigation, to be continued. Congress returning from the Thanksgiving break with a lot on their plate, not turkey dinner, but a lot that has to get done fast. They have to pass the tax bill. They have to avoid a government shutdown. They're on the clock, Kristen. Will they be able to put aside their differences and get this done?
When it comes to the government shutdown, my expectation and my hope is that at a minimum, Congress will be able to kick the can down the road. That I think by December 8th, they have to come up with at least some kind of a short-term fix to government funding. The threat here is that Democrats in Congress have signaled they may want to hold this up in exchange for getting Republicans to push something about the Dreamers, DACA, making sure that those folks who were brought here as children have some kind of status that would prevent them from being deported. So the question is, do Republicans give on that, or do they come up with something that just focuses on solving the budget issue? On taxes, there's still a lot of things to be hammered out between the House and Senate bill. Do they include provisions that would repeal pieces of Obamacare? That stuff is still being discussed. I think they may have a little bit of a longer way to go on the tax bill.
Yeah, I expect a flurry of activity before the big holiday. Kristen, thank you from Washington this morning. And we do want to move now to a story that broke overnight, the end of the manhunt for a teenager from Florida who's being called a person of interest in the death of his grandmother.
He was arrested thousands of miles away from his home, allegedly trying to cross the border into Canada. And ABC's Janae Norman is in studio with more. Janae, good morning to you.
Good morning. He is just 15 years old, the son of a sheriff's office lieutenant, now being investigated for murder.
Overnight, a teenager suspected of killing his 53-year-old grandmother in his father's Jacksonville home was caught. Seen here in this recent photo shared by Jacksonville officials with a newly shaved head.
We need to interview him to discuss what happened at the home.
Jacksonville Sheriff's Office confirming that wanted 15-year-old Logan Mott is now in custody, detained by Customs and Border Protection, trying to enter Canada in his grandmother's Dodge Dart. Mott had traveled over 1,000 miles from Neptune Beach, Florida to Buffalo, New York, where he tried to cross the Canadian border and was eventually stopped by Customs. Authorities had warned Mott was believed to be armed and dangerous.
Firearms were taken from the home on Seagate, so extreme caution should be taken.
Now police seeking answers from Logan, a person of interest in the death of his grandmother, Christina French. The two were supposed to pick up his father from the airport Wednesday, but they never showed up. Eric Mott, a lieutenant with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, returned to a ransacked home, firearms missing, and no sign of his son or his mother. Police making a gruesome discovery as they searched the home for clues.
The processing of the home on Thursday revealed evidence of foul play and potential criminal violence inside, and then late in the day, a potential grave site outside.
The body, believed to be grandmother Christina French. Logan's mother, Carrie Campbell Mott, telling ABC News in a statement that no matter what, Logan is our child and we love him and are standing by him to help in any way.
And Mott and his grandmother, Krista French, were first reported missing when Logan didn't show up to school on Monday. And at this point, a positive identification is still pending until a full autopsy is complete.
Sad story all around. Janae, thank you very much. A lot of other news overnight, and for that, we get it over to Ron. Good morning, sir.
Dr.
Ron Claiborne.
Dr. Ron.
Ron Claiborne.
Forgot the honorific.
Good morning. Good morning to you, Dan and Paula. Robert, good morning, everyone. We're going to begin overseas with a deadly fire in the nation of Georgia, where at least 11 people were killed and more than 20 others injured. The 22-story luxury hotel, the Leo Grand, in the city of Batumi, was set to host the Miss Georgia pageant on Sunday, this coming Sunday. The 20 participants were among those who escaped the deadly fire, fleeing down a ladder. And in London, police have released the image of two men whose altercation in a London subway station triggered panic during the height of Black Friday shopping. Several people were injured in the stampede caused by what some thought were gunshots being fired. The situation was initially treated as a terrorist incident. Police, though, say that after evacuating two underground stations, they found no evidence that gunshots had actually been fired. In Texas, memorial services will be held this afternoon for Rogelio Martinez, the Border Patrol officer who was found dead at the bottom of a ravine along the U.S.-Mexican border while on duty last Sunday. Among those attending will be Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Martinez's death remains unsolved. He suffered traumatic head injuries. There's a $25,000 reward for information leading to arrest in that case. Arizona State University is rescinding its award for excellence in journalism given to Charlie Rose in 2015 following allegations of sexual misconduct by the veteran journalist. In a statement, the dean of the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism called Rose's alleged actions, quote, so egregious that they demand nothing less than a reversal of history. The University of Kansas also revoking an award it gave to Rose earlier this year. And a major upset in college football, number 2 ranked and undefeated Miami Hurricanes. Well, they're no longer undefeated. The Hurricanes losing to unranked Pittsburgh. This is the second year in a row, actually, the Pitt Panthers have knocked off the second-ranked team in the country. Clemson, I think it was last year, the loss ending Miami's 15-game impressive win streak there. Pitt breaking out to a first-half lead and never giving it up, winning. Final score, 24-14. And finally, a rare sight, even in Canada. Check this out. It's a moose on the loose in Ontario. The moose tracked by cell phone cameras, helicopters, even drones.
It's not in a hurry, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say his movements were tracked, but I don't want to say that. The moose was tracked as it made its way across backyards and busy highways. The moose is believed to be about 2 years old, according to my expertise.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Can't do that. An older moose.
Check that out. Yeah, it is. An older moose can't do that.
Oh, he's got moves.
Where are you getting at, man? Okay.
Were you trying to say
moose
movements, like movements, but moose?
Moose movements were tracked, but I didn't want to go
Moose
there.
tracks.
By the way, it's still on the loose. Haven't caught up with
Moose
that.
is on the loose.
Moose is still on the
And
loose.
if there were
We'll be
two
tracking.
moose, would it be meese? There.
Well, goose can be geese, but moose can't be meese,
don't
which
think
I
so.
think is.
You guys all sound like a Dr.
travesty.
Seuss book right now.
Love it. It's that time of year, isn't it?
Do you think any of the weather cams
moose
have picked
on
up
the
the moose that's on the loose?
I'll check on that. Dr. Ron, you're needed in surgery. I've got it from here.
Take it away.
We go to the Pacific
Good thing we're a
Northwest.
2-hour show, huh?
We go to the Pacific Northwest. Unfortunately, here's the Skagit River. It's been flooding the past couple days. Heavy rain up there, and it's cutting into this hillside, and there are some homes there that are on the brink, and downtown area is also getting flooded there. Highest level in 11 years. It's beginning to recede, but the infrastructure is threatened. We're dry right now across the Pacific Northwest, but we've got another couple of systems that are coming in. Tonight it'll be rainy. Speaking of football, Wazoo at the Huskies in Seattle. I think it'll be wet there. And then another system coming in during the day tomorrow. That will be colder. It gets into California. That will bring in a little bit more in the way of snow, but 1 to 3 inches up here. Record-breaking heat, meanwhile, down across the Southwest. Actually, yesterday we had them from Yuma, Arizona, all the way to Minneapolis. Des Moines, Iowa in there as well, and Salina, Kansas. 87 degrees there. So the record heat will continue today, especially across the Southwest. 88 degrees in Palm Springs, Vegas getting close to 80 degrees. And other than that, traveling tomorrow, if you're heading home or back to work, not too shabby. We'll talk more about the lake effects now in just a bit. That's a quick check on the national headlines weather-wise. Time now for your local forecast.
Off to quite a chilly start this morning, so definitely needing that heavier jacket. But as we go through the afternoon hours, we should be heating up right around 58 to 60 degrees. Added cloud cover due to an approaching cold front, but not much rain. Maybe just a very brief stray shower as we head into the evening. Overnight tonight, temperatures in the mid-30s to low 40s under partly cloudy skies. Also quite breezy as we head through the day tomorrow. We'll fall cooler on Sunday with that daytime high right around 50 degrees.
Ohio State in the big house, among other big games today. It's rivalry weekend. Got to love it. Might be some more upsets. It seems to be the year of the upset.
I hope so.